Good evening, everyone. My name is Barry Haskel. This is the Superintendent Search Screening Committee this evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'd like to start with a salute to the flag. If we all stand, please. The flag is here to my right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. This is a public meeting. Our committee serves as a subcommittee of the New Bedford Public School Committee. I'm going to get a couple of the disclaimers out of the way in order to meet the requirements. This is a public meeting. It is subject to the open meeting law. As a subcommittee of the school committee, for all intents and purposes, the members of this committee are public officials for the duration of this committee. And as such, we are governed by the open meeting law. We're governed by the Ethics Commission for Public Employees as well. There was a notice requirement which was met so that we are able to hold this meeting today. I was a little concerned last night when we were having snow as to whether or not we were going to be able to get this in and then have to repost it. The other piece of this, there are some disclosures. So I'm going to start with myself and introduce myself a little bit more and my reason for being on the committee. But everyone here, I'd like you to introduce yourself and explain whether you're a community member. We have a member of the school committee. We have some of the school department employees, teacher representatives, which we're very lucky to have. We have a principal as well, in order to be sure that everyone knows the roles and also to meet the requirements that are necessary under the open meeting law. So, my name is Barry Haskel. I am a retired superintendent from the Plymouth Public Schools. I am not currently a New Bedford Public Schools employee, although I did some work here as the business manager a couple of 3 years ago. I also teach human resource management at Suffolk University at the Moakley Center for Public Management. So I'd like to start at the far end with Dr. Kelly and have him introduce himself.
My name is Tom Kelly. I'm a resident of Dartmouth. I spent 10 years as a member of the school committee of the Greater New Bedford Regional Vocational Technical High School after my teaching and administrative career in Dartmouth, the last state of which was as superintendent. I've also spent some time over the past several years doing consulting work for the Department of Education, most recently with the Fall River School Committee.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ann Prestas. I am a taxpayer of New Bedford. I'm also a grandparent of special needs child in the city who is attending Normandan Junior High School.
I'm Gail Forts, a New Bedford resident and community member, and the executive director of the YWCA Southeastern Massachusetts, a community-based nonprofit organization in New Bedford.
Josh Amaral, I'm a member of the school committee here, recently re-elected for a second term. Before that, I was, and still am, a proud graduate of New Bedford High School and New Bedford Public Schools K-12.
Great, thank you.
My name is Karen Tredup. I'm the principal at Kearney Academy. I've been working for the New Bedford Public Schools for 31 years. I am also a New Bedford resident, and 2 of my children went through New Bedford High School.
I'm Isaiah Houtman. I am a graduate, just like Josh, proud graduate of New Bedford High School in 1999. I am a math and computer programming teacher at New Bedford High School. I have been for the last 15 years. I am currently the head track and field coach in the wintertime for both boys and girls, and have been for the past 8 years, and I am the head track and field coach in the springtime for the girls.
My name is Chris Garcia. I'm a school adjustment counselor in New Bedford High School. I've been for about 15 years. I'm also the first vice president of the New Bedford Educators Association.
Hello, my name is Irma Valerius. I am a mom of 3 who have all gone through New Bedford Public Schools. My youngest boy is a kindergarten student at Gomes. He's also an English language learner. We speak Spanish and Haitian Creole at home. And my son is an English learner. I am an ESL teacher at Gomes. I've been there for 12 years, and I've been a teacher in the city for 18 years, all working with the bilingual population.
Great, thank you. Welcome. It's terrific to have all of you join us. There is one other member, Chris Carter, who is also a member of the New Bedford School Committee, is unable to be here this evening. So tonight we look at our new business. We have roles and responsibilities, procedure, timeline, and comments and questions. At the end, if we have some time, we will certainly take some questions from our audience this evening as well as from members of our committee. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about what our charge is. Our charge is to help the school committee as it goes through the selection process for a new superintendent. The decision-making is one of 3 major charges for a school committee, and it's probably its most important, and that is to hire a superintendent. So, hire a superintendent, deliver a budget to the community, and to make policy for the school committee and for the school district. Those are the 3 roles, so it's very important. In that regard, what our committee is to do is to help in that selection, to do some of the initial screening, and to take a slate of qualified candidates and present that to the school committee to do their vetting process, their interview process, and to make a selection of our next superintendent. In the packet that I gave you and in the posting, which was a public document, there were the attributes sought by the New Bedford School Committee. These attributes, and I'll read them just briefly, they talk about what the New Bedford School Committee feels are the important qualifications and personal attributes of the next superintendent of school. So it says a successful candidate for superintendent will be recognized as a highly effective instructional leader and team building with a well-established track record of system-wide achievement. 2, have the fortitude to make difficult decisions and ability to build trust among stakeholders so that those decisions are understood, appreciated, and implemented effectively. Have the ability to recognize and build on current strengths, be well-versed in current educational initiatives, and think strategically about their implementation, be a skilled communicator and listener who interacts constructively with students, staff, family, and the community. Have the ability to initiate and support positive change by engaging a variety of constituencies and establishing a shared community vision for the future. Cultivate a district culture that supports the professional development and engagement of staff and excites student interest in learning. Have demonstrated a commitment to academic excellence and the ability to retain and attract families to the district. Have demonstrated success in developing and managing a transparent budget that prioritizes student needs and academic excellence. Have operational experience and capacity overseeing a complex organization, demonstrating a commitment to high quality and highly functioning physical environments for learning. And lastly, consistently make decisions that best serve the interest of students. So those are the general qualities. Our role then is to help in that selection. So here's what we think that those roles and responsibilities will be like. Tomorrow evening, a subcommittee of the school committee will interview 2 search firms that have responded to an RFP and would like to do consulting work with the school district in helping to identify and recruit candidates for the position of superintendent. We will work in concert with that selected search firm as they go about their business They will support our work, and we will support theirs. Once that search firm is on board, their major task will be to advertise this position in a variety of places. This is what they do. This is their area of expertise. They may also have identified candidates who may be a good fit for our school district. And in that regard, they will start to help in that recruitment process. Over the course of time, again, they have not been selected, they will work with us to do some of the paper screening. We don't know how many candidates. At this point, the position has been posted on School Spring and a variety of other sources, so we may in fact have some candidates who've already submitted resumes and letters of intent to the school district. I have not seen any, nor do I know of any candidates at this point in time. Once that closes sometime during the month of February, those candidates, that list of candidates will be vetted by the search firm. They will do some of the background to make sure people have the appropriate credentials, they're appropriately licensed in Massachusetts, their resume and other curricula vitae will be able for us to look at. We will work with them as to narrow down that selection of candidates. And then our committee is scheduled, you already received that, our committee is scheduled to meet on February 27th, 28th, 1st, and 2nd of March. You notice I didn't go to 29 or 30, so I did get that right.
Pretty good.
So, those 4 late afternoons. So, depending on how many candidates are selected to interview, we will fit them into those slots. In general, we will follow what is termed a best practice, which would be a structured interview. That is, the questions will be in the same order, the same questions in the same order to each candidate. It provides us the best snapshot for being able to assess the strengths and weaknesses of each candidate as we go forward. At that point in time, as a committee, what we're asked to do is determine, we answer 2 questions. A, does the person have the professional qualifications to be superintendent? And B, if this person were selected as superintendent of schools individually, I could support the candidacy, yes or no. Our job is not to rate all of the candidates. Our job is to decide what candidates are qualified, that if that person became the superintendent of schools, he or she would be someone that as a committee we would support, yes or no. That list of candidates is then forwarded to the school committee to begin the selection process to secure a successful candidate. So for us, it is important for us to spend our time to ask questions that would help to meet the qualifications or give us the information as to whether the person meets the qualifications and attributes as listed here, and then give us the opportunity to bring forward a list of candidates to the school committee. Now that may be, the school committee would like to have at least 3 candidates, but our system may actually have more than that. We may have 4 or 5 candidates. From a personal point of view, I always would like to have 4 because people are dynamic at this time of year if they're looking for a superintendent's job and may decide that there's a better fit for them someplace else. And I'd like us to have the opportunity to present to the school committee enough candidates so that they have a wide selection. So that's our general roles and responsibilities, and I did touch a little bit on procedure, but our procedure will be for us to work with the search firm to be sure that we have questions that will help us to discern the qualified candidates from the candidates that we interview. And we will stick to those questions in a structured interview process so that we're able to look at all of the candidates in the same way. Okay. And I think I've mentioned the timeline, so I will open it up to the committee as you have questions about the process and where we might go from here. Dr. Kelly?
Just an observation that you read the listing of the attributes being sought by the school committee. And so I see our job is looking at these candidates and seeing the degree to which their background and experience matches up with what the school committee has identified as those that are most important to them. Is this on? I would just make the observation. I would just make the observation that there's also the formal qualifications that have been issued by the committee that I believe constitute prerequisites in the process of application. I just think it's a good idea to keep those front and center as well.
It is. There are additional qualifications, formal qualifications, and thank you for pointing that out. They are certified or eligible for superintendent licensure, master's degree, doctorate degree preferred, extensive administrative central office experience, as well as school-level experience, and successful performance in teaching and administrative capacities of increasing responsibility. So those are the formal qualifications. Thank you. So this person needs to be highly qualified. So we're looking for someone, as we know, this is a large school district with many challenges and many opportunities. It's a terrific place to work, and I'm excited about being part of the opportunity for us to select a candidate that will help move us forward. How about some of the rest of you? Have other questions?
Do you have a sense of when there will be opportunities for the public to have input? I know typically that's done through the search firm. They do focus groups and interviews and community forums and things of that nature. But I know some people have approached me anyway about that coming through either this body or another venue. Obviously, we all think that that's something that's critically important for the community to identify who's important. And I know we've had sort of a compressed timetable because we were trying to really catch up and make sure we get all this posting stuff out at the height of the superintendent hiring season. But I just wanted to run that by you to see what you thought about that.
Well, I think that it is important for the community to have input. It is, we need to hear from our various stakeholders, not just our parents, but our community members and business community and others. I would think generally that would be a task of the search firm. And one of the things that we're trying not to do, we haven't hired a search firm, is try to supersede what A, they're going to get paid for, and B, what is their level of expertise. So in other places where I have seen this done, it generally is a search firm because they will bring someone with that expertise. They've run those community forums. Not that we couldn't do that, but right now I would say we should leave that open for the search firm and see how they're going to manage that. And see, because I think that was part of the specs for, that, as I remember reading it. So they're going to manage that. So we probably could do that, but that's really what they were going to be paid for, so we should let them do that.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I just wanted to reiterate to everybody that's kind of watching that there's no intention by anybody of this process to go without public input or to not offer ample opportunities for that. This is very much the community's superintendent. It's not our bodies. It's really not even the school committees. It's the public in New Bedford that is going to own that position, and hopefully that person leads us into the future. So that's not even a question of whether or not we're going to get public input. It's just a matter of getting our feet under us and outlining a process that makes sense.
Not only is it important for them to have feedback with us, but it is an opportunity for the successful candidate to start to see what the community values and hear from the community. This is the way that we're going to start to build the kinds of relationships that people need to have between the superintendent, the school department, as well as the various stakeholder groups in the community. So that is a vital area, and it's important that we do that. Any other questions? Okay. I mentioned the timeline. It is important, I think that, and thank you for mentioning it, Josh, that we're a little late to the superintendent season here. Other communities are already well into that process, and it's important for us to do this in pretty much between now and March 1st. That's our plan, is to be able to have the candidates selected and presented to the school committee by the search firm. I think we mentioned March 2nd would be our last day, so by Monday, March 4th, it would be our intention to have completed our work and to pass that along to the search firm to present to the school committee for their next steps in the process. Okay. Anything else anybody would like to add? So the one thing that I would mention to you is about questions. What questions, when we meet with people, would we like to ask? So I would ask you to look at the both formal qualifications as well as the attributes. And if you have specific questions, we would ask you to send them so that we can take a look at it. We'll work with the search firm in order to develop a set of questions. With that, I'm sure that the search firm has a set of standard questions that they would like to work through as well. We will be limited in time, so we generally will meet with each candidate for about an hour, and it will give us all an opportunity to answer questions. So we'll ask them to tell us a little bit about their background. We'll ask them a series of questions. We'll give them an opportunity for a closing statement at the end. But the questions, if you have specific questions, they should be developed in a neutral manner. So let me give you an example. So if you were someone that felt that you'd like to ask whether they had any thoughts about school uniforms, you might ask in a neutral way, what is your position on school uniforms? Is this something that we should or shouldn't do? As opposed to, you think school uniforms are a great idea, don't you? Which tends to be leading. And so we would like to, be able to ask neutral questions. And we also would like to ask questions that pertain to the skill set that we're looking for, as Tom mentioned. So, any other questions? Shall I open it up to the audience if you have some questions? Anyone in our audience that would like to ask something? Yes, ma'am. Would you like them to come to a microphone? Could you come on up to a microphone, please? Oh, sorry.
I've learned this is working if you hold it in the right place.
We're going out for karaoke after this, so please, will you identify yourself?
Good evening. My name is Judith Ramos, and I'm a lifelong resident and taxpayer of this city. 2 children that attend in public schools, graduated from Bedford High School, proudly won Whalers football captain, college graduates.
Nice.
Grandchildren attending public school. Very proud of our city. Our city's a wonderful city. It's a unique city. And what makes it so unique is the communities, the diversity. And my question, could one of these questions for the applicants be their locale? I would love to see, and I'm speaking for myself, but I know there's a lot of people that feel the same way, someone from this area taking the seat of superintendent, so they know our children, know the diversity, the richness in cultures. Children are being labeled and tagged because they're not understood. And only people right here that attended these schools understand that. Nowhere in the world can you go and have a cassella sandwich with manshoop and a guamki. There's no place else but here in New Bedford. And that's what makes us such a wonderful city. So I ask, as a resident and a taxpayer, a concerned grandmother, because my kids are already on their own. They are. But please keep that in priority. Because as far as the good old boys bringing in their own buddies, like, that's why they got rid of it, don't think that the outsiders don't bring their good old boys from outside in, because they do. We need local people to deal with our communities and our children, because there's no one else that can understand it but ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Can't be this easy. If there are no other questions or comments, could I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
We have a question to adjourn. We have a motion to adjourn and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.